How you guys doing? It's Joe here again doing another new car review. However, this time I've decided to go smaller is better and do a review on the 2016 Chevy Spark LT 5-door. The reason I picked this car is because everybody needs a commuter car. Some people only have a commuter car, but some people like me, where I have my Mustang GT, I'm always on the lookout for a small four-cylinder automatic car with a few options that I could just use as a daily driver. And the more I've been playing around with these Sparks, the more I like them. So I figured I would do a little video on one and show you guys what you can get for the money. Now, let's face it, there's a smaller version of a car in the Chevy lineup, that's the Spark. I haven't done a video on that yet just because we don't have one readily available, because they've been such a hot commodity that they're all gone right now. But the Spark that I have here is the last of the 16s, because the 17s have actually started rolling in. Fundamentally and mechanically they're very similar. However, they've had the mid-cycle refresh that all the Chevys get from time to time. Actually, pretty much every manufacturer does a mid-cycle refresh of their vehicles. So the new one has a few things, and I'll point out the differences. I'll even walk over to the one that has the differences that hasn't been inspected or checked out yet. So hopefully I'm not being drowned out too much by the wind, because the speaker is actually on this side of the camera. So let's do the walk around. I'll show you some features on it and we will see what you think. So, as is my new customary way of doing things, I will insert the actual horsepower and torque ratings of this engine right here and make it scroll so that my finger's chasing it. Hey, where'd it go? It's not a bad little engine. 1.8 liters is actually pretty big for a four-cylinder nowadays. As you see, most engines like the Chevy Cruze has a 1.4. They're 1.5 in the base Malibus. Granted, they're turboed, but still, that's how a smaller motor makes more power than this one, yet still gets better fuel economy. However, this is a very proven engine. It's been around for quite a long time, so there's nothing really bad to say about this engine. Moving on. So here we are, guys. This is the outside of the 2016 Chevy Spark LT. Now, as we walk up on it, the first major thing you're going to see that's going to be different in the next one that I show you is these headlights. This is the last time that you're going to see these, I guess we can call them 3D headlights, where they're just inside the housing and then they're each their own individual light. That is gone now. It's kind of too bad, because it's not a bad looking setup. It grew on me over the years. No fog lights on this one. However, it does have full power windows, power locks, remote keyless entry. It has the Bluetooth enabled stereo. It's got all that good stuff. Now, one of the things that these littler cars, and yes, I just used the word littler in a review, come on, like I'm that professional, is rear drum brakes. Now, the funny thing is, it's expected on a car like this. This is your entry-level Yaris competitor, yet the Toyota Corolla, which is supposedly a better car, is standard with rear drums. They might have made them standard with discs this year, but originally they were standard with only rear drums and a 4-speed automatic transmission. I know I bag on Toyota all the time, but they're the big guys. They can take it. They're like Apple. Don't leave me any comments. I wasn't saying Apple's bad. I'm gonna go climb in a hole now. So when the sun hits this thing, it actually looks really good, and I do have to apologize. I'm getting used to how tight in this camera starts, and the next camera I get is supposedly going to have a better wide angle lens on it, so that'll be different when I try to get used to that as well. In order to make it look, I don't know if coupe-like is the answer, but to make it look different, they put the release for the back doors up here, so can't really explain that design element myself, but it is what it is. Not bad looking from the back, a little plain, a little easy to lose in a parking lot, but again, that's the point of this car. It's not supposed to be the flashiest thing in the world. If you want the flashiest thing in the world, you get the RS. And I wish I had one to show you, but we're all out right now. Thank you, Ted Britt, for letting me use the vehicle. Not a bad looking alloy wheel. It's the same alloy wheel they've used pretty much since the inception of the vehicle, so I don't have a ton to say about it, but it's not a bad wheel at all. No sunroof, just a hard top, which is fine by me. You know how I feel about sunroofs. If you don't, ask the guy sitting next to you. Even if he's never seen my videos, he'll be able to infer from that last statement how I feel about those. Every single one of my videos starts with me looking at the exact same spot on the dashboard, so I've decided to break it up today and start by looking at a grab handle. But coming through, hey look, there's my new windshield mount, because I had to buy another one because the one I had for one day broke. Yay! But panning through, this is the LT, as I said. So it's got a few extras on it, but not a ton, especially when you look at it. This is the window sticker that was completely whited out. Holy cow, white balance, come on. If you look, it actually has 0 options. Don't know why I said it that way, but it literally, this is exactly how this vehicle came from the factory. It has no extra add-ons, nothing like that. $0.00. That's awesome. For $18,145, you get a 1.8 liter dual overhead cam, Ecotec, which is just GM's name for everything nowadays, 4-cylinder, made it to a 6-speed automatic. As you can see, she was built here, except for, you know, the Hungary part for the engine. But the transmission came from here, and it was actually final assembled in Michigan. So there you go. Employ America. That's what I say. Fuel economy. Average is 28 miles per gallon, 24 city, 35 highway. Your mileage will vary with driving conditions, of course. Here on the interior, it's got what is now becoming the almost standard bigger screen radios. And yeah, let's mute that. I muted it so I don't get yelled at. And looking at the settings and everything in here, I have to say, and please don't yell at me for saying this, I'm just saying it looks a lot like a Microsoft system, a lot like Zune back in the day. If anybody remembered Zune. Yeah. So this system is not navigation, but it does have Bluetooth, and it does display pictures, and it's got, of course, your smartphone link so that you can hook up all your cool stuff. Scrolling down here, you see you've got your standard features. You've got your temperature control, your fan, and your directional control for everything, as well as your door lock buttons. The Ford Focus and Fiesta are like this, where they have a button down here. But what's kind of funny is that it is actually duplicated up here. So, okay, whatever, to each their own. The dashboard on these are always my favorite part. I really like this setup. It's very motorcycle-ish-y, although I've never owned a motorcycle, so I'm just assuming, but it just looks kind of cool. And of course you have the giant speedometer and the tach, although, and you've heard me say this a bunch of times, it really should be over here. Speedo should be over here, everything else should be on this side, because look, no idea what the tach reads right now, except for, you know, it's reading 850 because the AC's on. Older style steering wheel, but it's still a good looking steering wheel. I don't mind it. Coming in closer, voice controls for everything, speed control buttons. I don't know why I said it so funny. Over here on this side you have your headlight controls, which is also kind of interesting because they don't put it on the control stock like some of the foreign guys do. But I guess that's because you have the menu button for controlling the screen here on the end of the stock, along with your back button set. Got a big spot here for just chucking in your smartphone or your wallet or your extra keys or anything like that. Looking down here, you have one power port. This one also has, oh, there it is. There it is. Don't listen to me, kids. Dual glove boxes. This has dual glove boxes. That's cool. As you can see, plenty of room for me, my legs, my feet, my hands, everything up here. One little feature that I do like is having an armrest just for the driver. It's kind of weird, and it's a weird thing that I really like just for having for myself. I don't like to share my armrest with people. I don't know why, it's just a personal preference. So I'm gonna jump into the back seat. We'll see how that room is. Now, I have this seat, the front seat, set exactly how I would have it if I were driving this vehicle on a daily basis. So let's see how I fit. Okay, standing back here, I'm not even going to attempt it. Don't know how well you can see it, but my hand barely fits back there. So easily a vehicle for front seat passengers and small children or people you really hate, and I have done that in the past. Okay guys, so here we are. We're about to do the test drive on a 2016 Sonic 5-door LT. I'm sorry, I had to actually look at the window sticker because I had no clue what the hell this thing was. So, hopefully, there we go. I have you all the way across the car right now because that seems to give me the best possible angle with this camcorder that I'm using, and it's up against the pillar of the vehicle so it won't vibrate too much. I'm not going very far because I don't actually have a dealer tag on this thing, but I can go around the block at least, you know, until I get pulled over by a cop. It's got the 1.8 liter 4-cylinder and the 6-speed automatic transmission, and I gotta say, it's not a bad car. And it even has a transmission that's only optional on the frickin' Corolla, so yeah, you're already ahead of the game. So yeah, it actually drives like a bigger car, in reverse to what I said about the Equinox and the Traverses, where they drive like they're smaller. This thing actually drives like a bigger car. It actually feels like it weighs more. So I'm actually very impressed. Automatic shift smooth, plenty of room in the front, which you saw from the interior shots. Now, this thing isn't going to win any drag races or anything like that, but again, it's not going to be in its own way, which is the #1 problem that people always complain about with their smaller vehicles is, oh, it's so slow, it doesn't have any power, and I don't know why I use that accent, pardon me, but in the long term, this is a great little commuter car. And I'm not just saying that about this one in particular, I just mean in general, these little things are getting better and better. If you look at the Aveo, which came before the Spark, those things were a freaking joke. They were made out of tissue paper, held together with spit and baling wire and all that stuff. But the Sonic has actually stepped up quite a bit in terms of quality. And as you saw with the interior features, it's kind of funky and I like it. I do apologize. I know this is one of my shorter videos, but unfortunately we're very busy today. It's the first day of the month, so I didn't have a D-tag to go driving longer distances in the car with. The next car I do will have a longer test drive, more appropriate to what we were doing. So until then, thank you to Ted Britt for letting me use the vehicle. If you have any questions, leave them down below. If you have any comments, leave them down below. If you liked the video, please give me a thumbs up. If you didn't like the video, if you haven't subscribed and you feel like doing so, that would be awesome. It's how I gauge whether or not I'm making any progress in the channel. So until next time, talk to you later. More affectionately known as an OSHIT bar. For those of you that can spell, good for you. Maybe I should have renamed this segment, Your Mileage Will Vary. Da 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 da. People watching, it's one of my hobbies. And I ate lunch, so I'm trying not to burp, and I apologize.